Alright, let's talk about using these high pass filters to get rid of mud, or at least contain mud. Alright, working on electronic thing again, probably the same old crap you've heard 1,000 times and you're probably sick of it, but I like it and I'm working on it. Alright, we have a mix, well, a rough mix of, let's just see, go back to my old way here. This is what we had before. Okay, and let's just say a guy in the band, a client, whatever, says, "Man, make that bass big. I want some bass in the bass." And this is a very common thing. Everybody on Earth who's a bass player thinks that everything is 400 hertz, or 40 hertz to them. It's all the subwoofer junk. And so even though it's almost never the case, not in the quantities that's implied. So let's say they made us use this bass sound instead. We want it thick, that. So yeah, man, bass. All right, now the problem with that, let's take a listen to that again. Our meter here, I'll keep it open just because I think it helps these videos, and also the screenshot is kind of boring. I'm sure you guys like pretty colors. Okay, so let's pay attention. If you're not hearing it, especially if you don't have a sub going or headphones that go down pretty low. If you're not hearing it, well, one, you got a monitoring problem. Get on that immediately. You should be here. This is an obnoxious, obscene use of low end, deep stuff. Take a look at this spectrograph, and we'll just see it's all white in the bottom. It's just a big rumbly damn mess. It sounds terrible in my opinion. And keep in mind that a lot of your low-end problems are going to be more like 80 or 120. You don't always deal with 40 hertz issues like we are here. And just to kind of show you a side view there on the spectrograph. The problem is definitely down there in the lower frequency. So these concepts apply to 80, 120, 250. They apply to really anything. In the low frequencies below whatever, I don't even know, under 400 hertz or something, and sometimes even higher than that. But for this particular case, we're down deep, and I hope you can hear it. Now, what I'm going to do to treat this is we're going to fire up an equalizer, and I got my UAD Cambridge because I really like the filter on it. I don't have to deal with resonance, and it gives me a lot of options in terms of how steep a filtering we want to do. I've got it set to 12 decibels an octave right now. And so watch and listen to what happens here to this bass when I start knocking out some of that deep junk. And you can see kind of this is what we're going to be doing right here. All right, so take a listen. And also remember, this genre we want a big old kick. And so I'm not really squashing this too hard. I don't think I'm squashing it at all actually on the 2-bus right now. If I was, that would kind of do this kind of blend, like melting two crayons together of the kick and the bass, and it would make things even more indistinct and muddy. And so I probably should have done that just to really highlight my example here, but this is good enough. So pay attention to the kick. If we were smashing this hard, what would happen is as the bass clears up, that kick would pound harder and harder because they're fighting for the same areas at the moment. And so my aim here is to make sure they're not. Also keep in mind that we already have a sidechain compressor on this deal that you're hearing, or about to hear. A sidechain compressor is well known for fixing, or at least helping to eliminate the relationship between the kick and bass so they're not fighting. In fact, let's listen to this without the sidechain on, because that's just going to be a disaster. Here we go, low end. Yuck times 10. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Okay, so put the sidechain compressor back up. Actually, let's not. I want this to be as nasty as we can get it. Okay, so now we are going to open up Cambridge and watch as I start applying the high pass filter to get this mud out of there. I guess it's called mud. Mud, everybody's got their own definition, but okay, now right there, we've obviously taken that way too much. I'm not going to get away with that, but let's start bringing it back in slowly and see where it starts to rock. Okay, I don't hate it right there, and I'm being a little conservative, but I do come from the school that if we want the kick to be gigantic, then don't throw anything else in there to fight it. It makes no sense to. If we want one king, don't make him share with some other guy. I mean, just give everybody, one thing the power in any given spot, if you can. And not everybody has those same views, but I ended up at 57 hertz, for example. This filtering is always weird because 57's right in there somewhere, but we're knocking something off and all the way up to at least 120. So that always gets complicated. I don't make sense of that. So the number of a filter is really not that important. What's important here is that now this kick drum is pounding pretty good. Let's listen. Okay, let's take a look at the spectrograph because I think that is a usable thing for illustrating this, particularly for you guys who aren't hearing very well. Maybe you have a crappy monitoring thing going on. See, it's just a complete white mess without the filter. It's just at 40 hertz, it's basically just going to go almost like a feedback or something like that. So let's hit play, and I'm going to turn this filter on. Now. Okay, and lastly, this particular mix, we could get away with quite a bit more low end. I said I absolutely hated it, and reality is, I'm talking about in the bass. The reality is that this kick pounds so hard that it's kind of gray area. I don't think we'd ever want as much as was on here, but reducing it wouldn't take a whole lot. You could probably put more bass in it and get away with it. However, the concept here is that by utilizing the high-pass filtering, we can take out junk when we don't want it. And something like an acoustic guitar in a full band situation with bass and drums and all that, it's almost just a no-brainer. Or vocals where you got a lot of low end. I think I've got a high pass on this. Actually, I know I do, but well, dang it, that didn't work. But if I had the high pass off, it's one of those things where very few instruments should have any deep qualities whatsoever. And so with by giving kick and bass the low end, I'm talking subwoofer low end here. There's just absolutely no reason I can think of why 99% of the other instruments out there would ever need to be down there. We've already given it to the bass and drums. So anyway, anytime that you hear deep rumbly junk, use a high-pass filter and nuke it. A lot of preamps have that built in, so when you track, a lot of microphones have it built in when you track too. So take advantage of those tools because they're insanely important for getting the mix right. And that's why these high-pass filters are so valuable. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.